and get something out of it.
Right. Yeah, you know what? Now that you say that, I was on a call a couple of years ago with the investor group, and a guy was doing a pitch for us to invest into his idea for a restaurant or a lounge. I can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
And he had all the numbers good, and he said a lot of times what's happening is you'll have somebody with the capital, like an entertainer or an NFL player, NBA player, like you said. They don't have no knowledge of the business, but they got the money to throw at it.
Right.
And because they're not linking up with people who have, like the gentleman I was on the phone with, he was talking about he's been running a restaurant for multiple years, like decades,
Mm-hmm.
and he has way more knowledge than somebody who just happened to have like an extra $5 million to throw at it. And he was saying that is why customer service is lacking in Atlanta, because you got a lot of people who don't really have a background in it. They just have money.
Right.
And they hiring their friends,
right,
the babysitter, the hair braider, whoever.
Right.
And you know, like it really makes a difference.
Yeah.
You know. So
Yeah. It makes a big difference when you're working with people who know what they're doing, who've seen it done successfully, right? And understands, okay, yeah, this is what it looks like when you're doing it right.
Right.
You know, because without that, you don't know if you're doing it right or not. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know if you're doing it at a high level. So yeah, you know, I follow a lot of people online and stuff, and one of the biggest things that they stress is getting people who are better at it, whatever job you need done, than you are. Right. You want to surround yourself with people who are better than you, because that's what's going to advance the organization. If you only hire people whose knowledge is less than yours, then it'll never go past that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And with so many different variables that can have a negative effect on your business, you got to stack the odds in your favor, you know?
And it kind of go back to what you were saying, like the capital. Like, I know as you know, Black people, we like shiny object syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do have the new location, because really I think Black people really looking for a vibe. They want to go out to eat, but have a vibe eating.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But the sad part to that is, like, in trying to find the vibe, because they don't have good customer service, they're gonna tax on the gratuity, the parking, and look at the patrons like, oh, what's wrong with you? You broke? You tripping over that? You tripping over that? And I think right now the culture is kind of, especially with the timing that we're living in, that people are like starting to say, hey, dog, I'm tired of doing this. Like, I'm tired of having to pay $40 to park. I'm tired of paying $25 a drink. You know, I'm paying for lamb chops and whatever, and it's the same formula. And like you was telling me, you was at an establishment and they don't have a real chef. They had a cook.
Right.
You know, and there's a difference between the chef and the cook.
Big fact.
So, you know, you was talking about that. So, and you know, I don't want to name the establishment, but you were saying they just opened up a new spot on the east side, and the opulence from the Instagram stuff I've seen, it looked real nice. It might be like one of the best ones that I've seen in Atlanta.
Okay.
What you think? Is it?
I mean, I think it's on par. You know what I'm saying? With what you see with new establishments. You know, it's a lot of decor things going on, chandeliers, artwork. Now it's a look, you know, and it's you know, but I think that's interesting though that you said, like, okay, like people are getting tired of it, because like I also see the sentiment, and I hear people talking about money getting tighter, and I hear people talking about, you know, valet parking in Atlanta, but it's not stopping. Like, that's what I do see. You know, when I go out, like, people are enthusiastic about coming in there, sitting down, ordering food, ordering a hookah, ordering drinks. Like,
and it might be like, to me, I think it's like the culture is like, hey, I went to the doctor and I never got a checkup. He told me the things that I need to do better, but I'm not mature. I'm not ready to do the things. You know, like they say, hey, don't stop eating all this red meat and fried foods and processed food. And you've been doing it for so long that now it's like, damn, I got to stop all that. I got to live a whole different life now.
Right.
And I think that's what we're seeing is like, hey, I got to do this book report. It's due in 10 days. I'll do it later. I'll think about it later. You know, and I think that's one of the things that I'm looking forward to with the Trump administration, that it's going to force Black people to stop a lot of foolishness, to stop the way of life. The way I just saw a thing on the news where they was talking about the tariffs are going to impact people who sell weaves and do hair. You know, so like we got a culture where like girls can go out and not spend a dime. And then I mean, you talked about that where the Gen Z, the baby boomers got all the money. So if you got a single old man who got endless capital, you know, he gonna pay for it. But at some point, my hope is that some people, the culture's gonna wake up and say, hey, we're not gonna be just spending $300 on one bottle. Because when you go to White Clubs, it's not like that. You know, even if you go to a white restaurant, they not taxing you crazy.
Yeah, you know, I think that servicing the Black community, it comes with more, with a little bit more. It's different,
right?
You know what I'm saying? And so that being said, it's like, yeah, I think like at a certain level, like you have to do that,
right?
You know, it really don't work any other way. And I don't see people stopping. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see a day where it's just like, nobody's going out to eat. Nobody's going like, I slowing down, maybe consolidating, maybe kind of changing over. But it's like, if you look at like Mexicans, for example, right? Don't nothing stop a Mexican party.
Right.
Like they gonna do their thing, because they gonna get, if they got $20. Now, one thing I do know is that when people are in tough situation with things, people band together more.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So,
do you think that Black people band together is equal to the Mexicans or the Latino community?
I think it's comparable. You know what I'm saying? Not in the sense of like, because again, you know, we don't have a homeland. We don't have another language to speak. You know, we don't have our own food that we cook, that, you know, we don't have our own police and government. You know, we don't have a place like that. So I think that has a big effect, you know.
But you know, we see it. So it's a choice. Like we could choose to do it the way we've been doing it, or we can learn from our counterparts and implement the strategies that they're doing to make our situation better. But again, it's just like going to the doctor's office, getting that diagnosis. You 40 years old and you've been eating Kool-Aid your whole fucking life.
See, right, but because it's like, it's one thing to know what you need to do, but somebody's gonna be, anyone that you're up against. If you like, hey, if you watch some videos on how to train to be a football player, or what to do when you get into a fight, right? That's a good one.
Right.
What to do when you get into you hold your hands like this, and but if you could watch all the videos you want to. If you go and fight somebody, they had 3 fights already.
Right.
Maybe just one. You're at a disadvantage, man.
Right. I'm definitely not saying it's gonna be easy, but what I'm definitely saying is, for those who peep what's going on, they're taking full advantage of what their counterparts are doing and implementing a new strategy. And I know I done tried it in my own personal life, and it's a hard idea to push on people,
right?
And a lot of people don't want to do it,
right? You know? Right. People don't want to live like that, bro.
All right.
People, we want to live.